Hey y'all, it's Michelle from the Scattered Scrapper. Welcome to my channel. Today is day 28 of Scrap-O-Ween. It is Freaky Friday and time to work in my October daily. It's really starting to fill up here, so let's get started. For this story, I am breaking into my Killikit supplies and using this paper from the Hello Autumn by Cartabella. And what I'm going to do is make a flip. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm measuring things correctly. And I do fairly well. And I'm also wanting to make sure that the little scene there with the house and the farm truck and stuff is going to be upright, because I want that to be on the very back of my flip. So I'm trying to make sure everything is correct and make sure I'm folding it in the right spot. And I do get it folded in a good spot, but I do wish that I had made this about 1/4 of an inch longer, because there's a long end and a short end, and I didn't actually mean for that to happen. And look, I put it in there and like, yay, it works, except for if it is perfect on the outside of the pocket, but on the inside of the pocket, it's a little short. But hey, that's okay. We're just going to keep going with it. So I make sure that my fold is nice and pressed down. And I'm going to put on the outside, on the top here, this picture of me and my husband. And we went to a state park that's near where we live, and we hiked up to the very top of the hill, or the little mountain, and where they have this really, really beautiful overlook. You can just see for miles and miles and miles. And once we got up there, I was like, okay, gotta take all the pictures of everybody looking out, gotta take pictures of us together. And so he was like, oh man, we gotta take a picture. I'm like, yes, we have to take a picture. But he indulges me. He just likes to what is it, act like that he's not happy about taking pictures, but he really doesn't care. He's a good sport. So I am going to cover the upside down little farm and byway here, and I've got this tab punch that I'm going to make a tab with, because I want it to be very obvious that this is a flip and you need to lift it up. So I'm going to put this here on the bottom of the right hand side, and then I'm going to put the little floral paper over top of it. Let's see, and I need to go ahead and put a little bit more of my ATG, and then I get that on there, and then just trim it off. And I like doing it this way instead of trying to measure it and make sure that it is the right size, because if I just go ahead and stick it on there and trim it off, I already know it's the right size. Otherwise, I would be making way too many mistakes. I wouldn't have enough paper. So I have got this 12 by 12 sticker sheet here, and I pull off this word that says fall, and then I'm going to use the freckled fawn tile letters to spell out hike. And so the title of my little page here is Fall Hike. And then I'm going to put some of these orange rhinestones, but at first I kind of spread them around, but I'm not liking that right now. I don't like the look of that. So I go ahead and just move them into what I am liking right now, and just having a little close cluster of the 3 different sizes. And I like that much better. The other way I'm sure was fine. It looked fine. That's just not what I'm enjoying right now. So on the inside of my flap, I have a picture of the view, or at least one of the pictures I took of the view, and a picture of us watching the sun go down on the other side of the hill. So this one here that I am about to mat is facing south, and then the other one of the sunset is facing north. So there's 2 different places that you can look out over the vista. And then the other 2 pictures that I have are of my girls. One with my older daughter with her fiance, and my younger daughter with her boyfriend. And the personalities, it's so funny how because of their personalities, I would think that the 2 sitting on the rocks resting would be the ones up in the tree, because they're just like really outgoing and loud and fun, and the other 2 are not quite as outgoing. They are definitely fun, and they're not loud. They don't like loud. So it was funny to see them kind of doing opposite, I guess. But I got some cute pictures, and I am using this 12 by 12 sticker sheet again to put some decoration around them. And then I'm just going to trim out this little label here that I made using an Ellie Studio label stamp. And I'm going to tuck that up underneath there. Make sure it's in the right spot. And I'm going to write down a little bit of journaling that just said, "We had a wonderful time hiking to King's Chair. The sun setting was beautiful to watch." And then I'm actually going to be using some puffy stickers off this sticker sheet. I have tried to use this so many times, and I've barely used any of the puffies. But I put 2 tiny little leaves around there, and then of course I'm going to use my mica stain. That's a must. So I go ahead and put it on the front, and then this is the Harvest Moon color. It's a beautiful yellow, shimmery yellow when it dries. And when that dries, I will be putting more on the inside. But I do have to let that dry on the outside first. So my next story I am doing about the manicure that my daughter did on her hand, and it is a black cat with green eyes. And she put his pink little nose on her middle finger there, and her whiskers, or the whiskers of the cat, is on her thumb and her pinky, and it's so cute. She is phenomenal at doing nail art. She just, it amazes me. She is definitely one who would probably, no, not probably, she could do like a Bob Ross painting on her fingernails. She just really enjoys doing that, and she's very artistic. So now if I were better at like Photoshop or programs like that, then I could have printed out this picture in a better size to put it onto this cat die cut. But I'm not, and that's okay. I'm doing what I can. I don't like how the edges look. So after I figure out where I want to punch my hole, I'm like, how can I cover up the edges of the picture? So I pull out my washi tape, and I have this really skinny orange washi that has a big row of black cats. So I'm just going to use it to cover up the edge of my photo. And I'm thinking that this is probably not my favorite page, but it's still cute. So I just get that situated and trim it down and make sure I've got all my edges covered except the bottom. I don't worry about covering the bottom there. But what I do is I am going to decorate her palm, because it's a really good spot to put some embellishment. So I got that all trimmed off, and now I'm going to go through and look for, well, at first I was like, I want a cat, and I was thinking about using a black cat. So there's several different black cat heads in these stickers, but they weren't the right size. I didn't like how small some of them were. And then there's one here, but I'm like, it's kind of big. I don't want it to be too big. And then this one here that I have on the photo now is holographic. And I was like, I like the idea of the holograph or the holographic sticker better. So I went ahead and went with that. And then I have these Halloween little word stamps from Ellie Studio, and I am going to use my StazOn ink, and I'm going to stamp directly onto my photo. And with the StazOn, you can do that. Regular, let's see, I can't remember what kind of ink it won't do that. Like if it's a water-based ink, it really won't stamp on your picture because it takes forever to dry, and more than likely it won't. But with the StazOn, it dries almost instantly, and it makes a nice crisp impression, or we'll go with the impression, so that you can actually read the word. It says spooktacular, because her manicure really was. And then, of course, I had to finish it off with the mica stain. And I used Iron Gate for this one. It's a really pretty silver. Now, for my last story, so I'm going to make another flip, but this time it's going to flip out instead of up. And I need a new blade for my trimmer. It's so bad. This is some Basil cardstock, and it's got fuzzies all down the sides where I trimmed it, which at first kind of irritated me because I was like, this looks all raggedy. But then I got inspired by those raggedy edges from me needing a sharp blade for my trimmer. And what I end up doing is distressing the sides of everything. So I just kind of embrace that shagginess and take my scissors, because I don't have a distressing tool. I need to get one day, but I don't have one yet, so I'm still using the side of my scissors. But I'm going to take the scissors here in just a minute and go to town on the edges of all of these. But before I do that, I know I want to use this piece of paper here, even though I have it upside down at the moment. I know I'm going to put my journaling on that on the inside. And I also want to do some stamping, but I'm not sure which color I want to use, which one is going to show up the best. And these are the Dewdrop by, let's see, how do you pronounce that? Tsukaneko Company? One is called, it's the Brilliance. One is Platinum Planet, and then the other one is Starlight Silver. And I tried both of them on that one piece of paper there and decided that the Starlight Silver showed up better on the black cardstock. So that's what I'm going to end up using. And at first I was thinking I was only going to stamp around the edge of the left-hand side. But once I get to stamping, I realize that I love how this looks. So I end up just covering the whole thing. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put everything. And then here's where I'm like, those raggedy edges make me think about purposeful raggedy edges. So that's what I do. And I do it on everything. I even roughed up the edges of my photo. And now one of the reasons why that I was determined, I'm like, okay, I'm going to even make the edges of my photo raggedy is because of the story that I am going to be telling with this page. And have you ever seen the movie The Lovely Bones? Or have you ever read the book? I've never read the book. I've heard about it. I remember when it came out. Oh, before I tell you this story, let me tell you about this. I'm really sorry that I thought I hit record, but I really hit pause. So you did not get to see me use my stencil paste and my stencil to put those skulls and crossbones on the very back of this page. But there you could see all of the stamping that I did on the inside. And then my ATG gun, I have to fight with it for a minute because the tape keeps getting wrapped up around one of the little barrel things that it goes over. It's very aggravating. But so anyways, back to this story. So I'm titling this Trick or Treat on the outside. On the inside, I'm going to be titling this The Absolute Worst. So my apologies in advance for anyone who loved the book The Lovely Bones or anyone who thoroughly enjoyed the movie. My husband and I hated it. We were looking at maybe watching a newer movie about a telephone or something. Like, okay, I think it's called The Black Phone on Amazon. But a lot of the reviews were they were really horrible about it. So one of the reviewers had suggested if you really want a good movie that's got like a really good plot, then you should watch The Lovely Bones. Well, I think we might have had a better time watching The Black Phone. We sat through that whole movie and we kept thinking, man, I can't wait till they get the bad guy. Can't wait till they get the bad guy. Yeah, the bad guy got. But we were not happy with how it happened. For those of you who have not seen the movie, I don't recommend it. I'm not going to spoil it, but I don't recommend it at all. So, to emphasize that this is a flip, I'm going to use a bunch of these labels here. And I have used my Heidi Swap Halloween 2022 stamp set. And I have stamped on here, turn back, beware, and warning. Because I don't really leave like reviews, but we might just have to. I think my husband even was like, "Who is the person who recommended this movie? Because this was awful." Oh god. And yeah, it was an experience. Oh my goodness. So, of course, I had to put that in to my October daily and talk about how awful how awful that we thought this movie was. It was over, and we're like, "That's it? We need that 2 hours of our life back." Let me know down below if you've seen this movie and what your initial thoughts on it was. So, here I've got some Tim Holtz words here, and I put wicked, foreboding, and forsaken. Because I actually wondered if I would ever be able to use any of those, because, Halloween for us is fun, so there's not a lot of really, like, scary or foreboding or forsaken or wicked, but since we watched that movie, I have an opportunity to use those words. Oh, but I need to make a backing for those little labels, so I used my sample that I made to figure out which color ink I wanted to use, and just traced around them and trimmed that out. And then I'm going to bring in some of the mica stain, and on the front here I am using the burnt ember, and I love how beautiful this is. It's such a pretty orange. I love it. And on that black cardstock, it is gorgeous. Now I need to put some on the inside as well, so while I'm waiting for that to dry, I am using some of these Tim Holtz really teeny tiny alphabet dies, and I am going to send them through my Sidekick here to trim all of those little letters out, and that is what I use to make my title that goes on the inside. And I'm just going to glue down all these little letters here after I get them situated. And I close this up because I'm trying to think if I care if you can see it peeking out from behind or not, and I don't. You can see it when you close the flap, but not much. You can see the A and a part of the B from the word absolute. So there it is. The absolute worst. Oh, we rarely have that reaction to movies. We're usually pretty good about picking a movie that we think we would enjoy, and we thought we would with this one because we were relying on that recommendation, but wow. Yeah, I don't recommend it. So that is gonna do it. Here are the pages that I made for my October daily this time around, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.